Okay. Well, I just wanted to tell you about my experience going as a deaf student to a hearing public school. I would go and I saw a lot of vlogs about it and about their stories when they went. Sorry about that. Well, it's okay, whatever. Back to the point. So I was noticing a lot of people, of you guys, telling your stories about how bad things were for you in the hearing schools and how criticized and teased you were. And a lot of your viewpoints and opinions about hearing schools were really sad. I was looking at it, I was like, oh wow, all the viewpoints of a hearing school as a deaf student going to hearing school. They're really sad and depressing about the deaf culture, deaf community, deaf friends. All of it was just really limited and cut short. All in the hearing school. It was really bad. And being like, everyone just being so involved in the hearing culture. And there are people about going to a deaf school. I want to discuss that. So I grew up in kindergarten and elementary school going to the deaf school. So I grew up more in like fourth grade till I graduated from high school. At that point I went to the hearing school. So through middle and high school, and I never had the experience of someone criticizing me because I was deaf. I mean, yeah, some people, other students would joke and tease and poke fun about me being deaf and not being able to hear. Yeah, but in seventh grade, one time, at one point I was physically bullied by another classmate. They came up to me in the locker room and the boy walked straight up to me and spit on my face. I kind of looked at him like, alright. And it was the first time, so I pushed it aside. Just wiped it off my face. I went to the bathroom, cleaned it up, threw it away, and kind of went in the classroom. Now that I look back and I think about it, I realize that he was judging me because I was gay. I had two different identities, deaf or gay. I had both of them. So I don't know which one he was judging me for. As a deaf person growing up in the hearing school, I had like one incident, but there was no big thing that I made lots of friends. And yeah, they were hearing friends, but it was fine. I learned my ABCs, how to spell, finger spelling, it was all good. In high school, I learned to not be dependent on people as a student. I wanted to improve my identity. I wanted to figure out who I was as myself. So for about half, well, not really half the day, but I would go to the deaf school for sports and stuff like that. And people tended to be really involved by themselves in the hearing culture. Like summer between freshman and junior year, or freshman and sophomore year, sorry. And then I did a lot of things. And junior year, I decided to play basketball again over at the deaf school. So that's what I was doing the summer between freshman and sophomore year. I played junior year. And then senior year, we would play and commute back and forth. Well, this person, well, the name's not really important, but this whole group of us, we worked really hard to establish this group of at the deaf school. For sports for deaf kids. They would go to the school and get their education and learn. And then we wanted to have a link between the deaf school and the hearing school. I never experienced any bullying or because I was deaf, because I was the only deaf student. My school had like 4 or 5 students that were deaf. And so I wasn't ostracized or teased for it. My senior year, I think my school had like 4 or 5,000 students. And so when I graduated, there were 5 deaf students. And yeah, it was a really small number. But I never experienced any sort of criticism or anything like that, discrimination. I never was with the special education teacher. Junior year, we were reading Romeo and Juliet by Shakespeare. And I was reading it, and it was just, a lot of it was going over my head. I was kind of glaze over it, and the special education teacher, she would explain, like, oh, my English, and that's kind of a problem. The English teacher would come up to me and be like, oh, well, you're hearing or deaf, it doesn't matter. This is what you need to do. And at that point, I was like, alright, study, Shakespeare, here we go. Lots of studying. And that's when I realized that it doesn't matter if you're hearing or deaf. Both have problems. Both cultures, both of students, struggle to understand Shakespeare. They struggle to understand Romeo and Juliet. It didn't matter that I was deaf or if someone was hearing. We all struggled together. Though in high school, I didn't have any really awful experiences. It was normal. The experiences were totally normal for me while I was in the hearing school as a deaf student. I mean, yeah, I would look around and I noticed that all of the hearing students were like, oh, that's so hard, deaf student. But it's never like, oh, it's awful, bad, no, no, no. No. A deaf person has choices on where they want to go, whether they want to be part of the hearing culture, the deaf culture, or accept parts of both of them. You don't want to blame the hearing culture. My parents didn't force me. All kids are born different. Some are born hearing, some are born deaf. And you never know what's going to happen. Sometimes you just have to figure it out. And so I never actually had any problems. Never really had any huge bad experiences. I just wanted to share my experiences with everyone. And yeah, that's it. Have a great day!